What is good, live podcast? What is good? Welcome back, man. We here with another episode, man. This is episode 46. It's crazy, bro. We getting closer to 50, bro. We only four more episodes from 50, bro, which will probably be what 2 weeks, man. So yeah, bro. Definitely excited about that, bro. Just want to ask you, bro, how was your weekend, bro? It's Tuesday. Yeah,
W weekend. Had a really good weekend. I had a photo shoot for Flow Rider. Pictures coming soon.
fire.
I was able to get some good Flow Rider content, so that was pretty good.
Happy.
Um, yeah, you know, what I'm saying I'm back. But this weekend was really, really good. You know, what I'm saying I really, I had that like a real big awareness moment. So, yeah, this weekend was W for sure.
That's
What about
fire,
you, bro?
bro. For me, man, this weekend was pretty good as well, bro. This weekend, I just kind of just was spending more time with myself this weekend. Like, wasn't really like around too many other people. Not really talking to too many people either. I was just been like, I've been learning to like look up more. And what I mean by that is like when I'm walking, when I'm outside, I'm learning to like just look up more, like look at the sky, look at whatever it is above me, because we're human. We usually just be looking down or at our feet. So recently, I just been practicing on looking up, and it's been way better, bro. To be real, bro, you start to see how beautiful the world really is when you're not always looking
Yeah,
down. You start to look up, start to realize a lot of good things, man. So that's one
fact.
thing I've been working on, man. But yeah.
That's fact. That's fact.
But yeah, bro, getting into the questions for today, man. First question, bro. Is pressure a privilege?
See, look, this question right here, it goes. I don't say how it don't make it go over people's heads, but like pressure is privilege a real life question, right? Because not everyone is put in situations where they either have like the option of fold or get better.
Ooh.
But in my opinion, pressure is privilege. Why? Because pressure makes diamonds, right? So if you're in a situation to where it's like, all you is so much going on, like you gotta have that mindset, like at some point it has to decompress, right? At some point the pressure has to release because pressure can't last forever, right? Hard times can't last forever. So if you are in a situation where it's like, so much is stacked against you, you got every reason to stop, you got so much pressure, it's like that's a golden opportunity for you to get better because once you get through the pressure, everything opens up for you. So in my opinion, I think pressure is privilege. What about you, bro?
I agree, bro. Like, I feel like pressure is a privilege as well, bro. Because at the end of the day, bro, like you said, bro, pressure builds diamonds. So if you don't get the opportunity to have that pressure in the first place, then it's not a privilege, right? But since you get the opportunity to be in that pressure moment, it's a privilege, bro. Like you were just saying, like, say if I'm going through something, bro, that pressure is literally the privilege, bro. Because I could not be going through anything. I could be just staying stagnant. I could just be where I'm at and just saying I'm okay with just where I'm at and not go through nothing, not get better or get worse. Just stay. Now, I mean, you're not getting worse. You're not getting better. You're not staying the same, but you're gonna get worse, right? And that's just you being complacent. You just standing still. But if you're trying to do things in life, you'll eventually come across pressure, right? You'll come across moments like if you're working towards your dreams, your goals, you'll come across moments where you got to make a decision, where you got to, what I'm saying,
Yeah.
choose between getting better or getting worse. And those moments is why it's privileged, because you getting that opportunity to allow pressure to be in your space because you're trying to make it to the next level, because you're trying to do something, you're trying to get better. And
Yeah.
if you're trying to constantly get better, it becomes a privilege because it's something that has to be given to you. Or you could just have no pressure. But you having no pressure, you're not going to know if you're getting better or if you're getting worse, or if you should take this chance,
Mhm.
or if you should take that moment of opportunity, right? When the door opens, you'll never know if you don't, if you don't get pressure, right? If you don't never feel that pressure, you don't never feel like you need to lock in, or you need to study hard, or you need to do a little extra. If you don't get those moments, you'll stay the same. You'll be complacent. You'll
Yep.
probably get worse in the long run. But yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yep. Yeah, I agree, right? Like pressure forces you to lock in, right? Like pressure forces you to be uncomfortable. And whenever you're uncomfortable, guess what happens? You unlock new things, you unlock new levels. And so like pressure is most definitely privilege because whenever you're in a situation to where like you can only rely on God, that's nothing too about pressure, right? Like whenever like so much things is going bad, like who do you call? And even though we should call them like good and bad times, right? Like when you're in pressure, it's like it forces you to rely on God. And whenever you're forced to rely on God, guess what? He replies, he answers, and that circles back to like God gave his toughest battles says toughest soldiers, right? So if you are feel like the odds stacked against you, everything is going against you, you got to remember that like everything happens for a reason, right? Like God didn't put you in that situation for you to like be down, right? God
Yeah.
didn't put you in that situation for you to lose. So if you have the mindset like God put me in a situation for me to rely on Him, guess what's going to happen? He's going to come through for you, right? Because God always comes through. So that whenever you have like a big hard moment, like a a lot of pressure, you think about like the how big the reward's gonna be, right? How big the outcome's gonna be, right? And it could be something so simple, like for me, right? It was like I knew I needed to wake up early, right, to pray my first prayer, but it was like it was so hard. It was like a lot of pressure, like, and I got in my mind like, yo, like, okay, I know like the right thing to do. Like I need to lock in with doing this, right? And I feel like the pressure, like if I don't wake up, like bro, like I'm pulling myself away from God. And I've been waking up like the last even only 3 days. I've been like back to system what I need to do, and like there's no pressure on me now, right? And I didn't even like get nothing. It's just like the feeling internally, and that's another thing too, right? Because a lot of time pressure is not externally, right? Pressure is not having a little or this, right? Pressure is just a feeling of uncertainty. And so whenever you have a feeling of uncertainty, you rely on God, He gives you that certainty, He relieves that pressure off of you. Guess what? You good. And now you're able to work through things. So pressure is really like it. Pressure is the gateway to everything. Because you can either, go good or you can be pressure and just fold. And that's what happens too, right? And a lot of times people get pressure and they fold because they're not used to it. They don't like the feeling of pressure.
Yeah.
You have to want the feeling of pressure to get better. That's another thing. That's my biggest thing. You have to be hungry for pressure because pressure is what makes you. Diamonds what make feel me. That's why you build.
I agree, bro. I agree, bro. To be real, bro, that's really what it is, bro. Pressure is literally the key foundation to get into where you want, bro. You're gonna get pressure. You're gonna feel that pressure. Like for most people, that may be hating, people hating on you. That's also things like signs of pressure, right? Like somebody trying to tell you not to do something, and it's something that you really know that you can do, and it's something that you want to do. You can't let little pressure like that get to you. But it's a privilege though, because if you're not doing nothing with your life, I'm telling you, if you're not doing nothing with your life, you would not feel pressure because you're just being there. You're just being like, I don't know how to explain it. You're just isolated. You're just to yourself. You're not really doing nothing. You're not taking no chances. You're not taking no quote unquote risk. You know what I'm saying? So all that, you just being complacent. You're not getting nowhere. You're not doing nothing
Yeah,
better for yourself. You're not doing nothing better for God. You know what I'm saying? At the end of
yeah,
the day, you're just literally being like a stick in the hay, bro. And at the end of the day, that's not what you need, bro. You need that pressure. You know what I'm saying? You wanna feel that pressure. You wanna feel sometimes like, okay, dang, like let me make a decision. Those are the moments that build you. Those are the moments that make you to who you are
yeah.
today. You know what I'm saying? You probably been through pressure right now, or you probably been through pressure throughout your life, and maybe you did fold. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you did fold and you seen you got worse. But obviously, when you see you have pressure and you go through with it, you do what it is that you got to do. You see how it rewards you. You see how you feel way better. You start to see how sometimes them little moments of pressure be little things that just need to be solved like in quickness. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes that pressure don't even be nothing crazy. It just needs you to stop being complacent, stop being lazy, stop being, what I'm saying, ignorant, bro. Sometimes it just you got to just take that first step. You know what I'm saying? And then that pressure will come. You know what I mean? Sometimes to get through the pressure, you just need to take that first step. You know what I mean? So I think those are the biggest keys with pressure for sure.
And I agree. And I think the best thing about pressure, not everyone gets the opportunity to have pressure. Right? You got to think about how limited pressure is because a lot of the times everyone has the same situation. Like everyone can be in a moment of like in need of something, but few realize the need of something, right? And that's what it is, right? Pressure is like realizing like, yo, you got to get better. Cause that's all pressure
Mm.
is. Like a lot of times, whenever you get in a situation where something's uncomfortable, you feel like you're holding yourself back. You feel like you're not getting to the next level, and that's what pressure is. And so like everyone could be in the same situation. I'm gonna give a perfect example. Like two people can either pay rent, but one person not stressed about the rent or anything like that, and another person thinking like, yo, I need a way to pay my bills and do more, right? So the person who needs to pay the bills and do more, they feel more pressure. So what they do, they go work harder to be able to
Mm.
have more and not just have the bills getting paid. You know what I'm saying? So pressure is the realization that you want to get better. Pressure, that's why pressure is privilege, right? Because not everyone has the awareness. Okay, I want to get better. I want to get to the next level. That's
Yeah.
what it is. And the moment you have the thought of like, okay, I need to get to the next level, you're gonna start to do more. And I think we say pressure is privilege, but pressure is also worked for, right? Like you have to put yourself in situations to where you're forced to get better. You have to put yourself in a situation where like things going to open up for you to like keep going and get to the next level, right? Because sometimes, like I just said, a perfect example, like two people can have a house and one person is just okay with having the bills getting paid for, but the other person wants more things to do. So
Yeah.
pressure is just a warning to do things. Pressure is just a warning of more. The pressure is just warning to unlock the next level. That's literally all pressure is. And that's why pressure is privilege, because the awareness, you have to have awareness to be able to have that type of mindset. Not everyone has that mindset to where they want pressure, or they need the pressure to get better. They need that shit. Sometimes for me, like not for me, right? But sometimes for people, like pressure is like securities. Pressure is security for
Yeah.
people because they know that whenever they're in a pressure situation, they're going to get to the next level. That's like that peak pressure level. Like it's hard to get there, right? It's hard to get like I'm going through so much. I'm going through so much. And it is constantly fighting. Like that's peak pressure. Like to be able to unlock that sort of pressure, like you're bound to succeed. Like you're bound to unlock great things because of your mindset. Like God willingly, I get to that mindset because that's like a dog beats dog mentality. Like that's like peak pressure. Yeah, I think pressure is golden. Pressure is golden.
Yeah, I agree, bro. Pressure is, bro. It make or break you, bro. For real, for real.
It can break you.
Make or break you,
Yeah.
bro. I ain't got nothing else on that, bro. Get to the next topic, bro. What's a self check question everyone needs? Hmm.
Self check question. What's my purpose, right? Or why am I doing this, or whatever they're doing, why am I doing it, right? Like we all have to, like, for me, I always have to remember God, right? Whatever I'm doing, something like, is this pleasing to God? Does God accept this for me? Whatever it is, and sometimes it could slip away, and then I'll find myself falling to the wrong things because the question that I didn't ask myself. So I think a question that we all should always ask ourselves is what's my purpose for doing this? What's the reasoning for me doing this? What about you, bro?
I feel like there's a few questions that we need to ask ourselves, bro. I'm not gonna lie, bro. Um, but one of them for sure, I would say like a main question you should ask yourself, kind of similar to what you said, but really like, who am I, right? Like, who am I?
Mm,
And that's like the brief biggest question, just who am I? You get what I'm saying? And then to branch off, you can ask yourself. I feel like you would start asking yourself like, um let's see, bro. You could ask yourself like what do I like to do? What do I don't like to do? You know what I'm saying? Just you wanna break down the small details within yourself so that you can get
yeah,
to the longer stuff, so you can get to the bigger stuff, because you
yeah,
breaking down and just letting yourself, like, telling yourself the little things, figuring out little things like, why do I do this? Why do I do that? Why do I do this
yeah,
certain thing? It slowly starts to build into the bigger things. Then you start seeing the bigger habits that go on later in life, right? For example, like for me, it was just like I used to didn't like clean my room. Not like, it was clean, but it wasn't like as clean. Like I'll have
yeah,
clothes and stuff. So, but before, I had to ask myself like, why don't I keep my like room tidy? Like, why am I not keeping my shit tidy? And then those little things, you start to ask yourself. You start to find out truth to it. And then that's when you go
yeah,
and figure out the bigger things, the more things that's going on in the outer world and all that. Like, you literally want to build yourself and ask yourself questions about you before you start
yeah.
asking questions about the world, before you start asking questions
Mm,
about other things. Ask
I
questions to
like
yourself and to grow with yourself first. But yeah, don't.
I like that. I think that's real important what you said, because a lot of times, like, you kind of like, when I say this, I'm not saying like we're God or anything like that. Please don't know. But like we kind of like create our own situations, right? Like however we think is what we see and what we feel. So if I ask myself before I do something like, who am I? And I give myself like the answer I want, like a truthful answer, that's the reality I'm gonna get. So I like that. I never thought about that, right? Like if you always just give like yourself a self-check moment of like a come back to yourself, that's where everything can change. That's where everything can open up for you. And
That's
I
facts.
think I think the another really good question that we should ask ourselves is like we say, like, who am I when no one's watching, right? Like who's watching me? And then when you have that thought, who's watching me, like you're gonna automatically think like, who's watching? God, right? Like God is always watching. So like, yo, where's God? Like who's watching me? God watching you. So you're gonna start moving more accordingly. You're gonna start planning more accordingly. You're gonna start doing all the right things that's more pleasing, to God. And I think, you know, as humans, we fail, right? And it's okay. Like, God didn't make us to be perfect, right? God didn't make us to be sinless. Like, it's impossible. So, whenever you have that question of, like, where's God? You try to add that question more to your life. You want to be coming close to, not perfect but perfect, right? And and I think, like, the biggest thing with this question is, you you always have, like, a realization of wwho you are. And it ties back to, who am I? So whenever you have that type of mindset, it's so easy. Things open up for you, like, always. You feel me?
Facts, bro. And another question probably you could ask yourself is like, why do I limit myself, right? And I feel
Yeah.
like that's a very big question because at the end of the day, you want to figure out why are you limiting yourself? Like, especially if you want to do something, if you know you want to achieve some type of
Yeah.
greatness or you want to do something in life, you have to ask yourself, why am I limiting myself? Because 9 times out of 10, the reason that us humans don't do things that we want to do or don't do the things that we want is because of our own mind, our own, like
Yeah.
he was just asking me before, did I apply to streamer university? I'm like, nah, like I don't got no excuse. I just didn't,
Yeah.
right? Like most people will probably come up with an excuse and be like, oh, I gotta do this, gotta do that. But in reality, it's no excuse. It's just like you're only limiting your own self, bro. It's like you could do it or you can't do it. You get what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, nobody's stopping you. You get what I'm saying? And nobody's forcing you either. And that's, I feel like, the main thing that we tend to forget is like nobody's forcing us to do anything, and nobody's forcing you not to do anything, right? Because a lot of times, like I said, bro, we just be trying to have this validation. Like we want other people to be okay with us, for us to be unlimited, right? For
Hmm.
example, like we wouldn't go create a new channel without asking my friend. You get what I'm saying? And like those are things
Hmm.
that you shouldn't do. You should do the things that you want to do. Ask yourself,
Yep.
okay, if I want to do this channel, how can I make something different with this channel? How can I make this channel blow? You know what I'm saying? Like, these are things you need to ask yourself. You shouldn't ask your friends, other people, other things. You should just be asking yourself, ask God, like, what do I need
Yeah.
to do to get to that next level? And at the end of the day, you keep asking yourself this, you keep trying to figure out why you limiting yourself, you'll eventually find yourself to a point where it's like you're not holding yourself captive no more. You're not holding yourself limited no more. You letting yourself do what you got to do, bro. At the end of the day, because once you realize that you in your own way, bro, everything else is just limitless, bro. Everything is endless, bro. Like there's no end to it, bro, unless you personally put a stop to it, unless you personally put a blockage to it, which is what most of us do,
I
bro.
agree.
It's the excuses, man. It's like you cut out
I agree.
excuses, you be more, take more accountability. I feel like taking more accountability will allow you naturally to start realizing you limit yourself because once you
Yeah.
start taking accountability, you realize that you sometimes do things wrong. It is what it is. Sometimes you in the wrong, sometimes you do things bad, and that accountability will naturally allow you to start to realize what you're doing wrong, right? And then now you can figure out the right things to do. Now you can figure out the good things to do. Now you can figure out what you need to
Yep.
do. And doing those things will allow you to become limitless because you're not holding yourself limit no more. You're not holding yourself to
Hmm.
this certain standard no more. You hiring your standards. You getting better standards. You get what I'm saying? So yeah,
Yeah,
bro.
I
Don't
agree.
limit yourself.
And I got a question with this. Like, what's the importance of, like, asking yourself? Like, what's the importance of, like, remembering or asking yourself certain these questions?
So the importance of asking yourself these questions is to figure out who you are, bro. Because if you already know the answers to these questions, then you don't need these questions, right? You already figured out who you is. Now you can just keep going with your life until things unfold. You get what I'm saying? And you just keep praying and keep asking God and just keep moving forward because that's really what it is. But the main reason you should be asking yourself though is like literally to become a better person, right? To become a better person, to make it to heaven at the end of the day, because those are the things that you want to do. Especially like if you come into a point where you want to ask yourself these questions, you're at a point where you're trying to find success, where you're trying to become successful. Because you only ask yourself these questions if you're trying to be better. And at the end of the day, once you become better, once you realize you're trying to get better, that's already success, which most people don't really know. But you trying to get better is already success, bro. And a lot of people will knock you for it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people will knock you for
Yeah.
trying to be yourself, trying to get better. But at the end of the day, you got to know who you are. You know, at the end of the day, this the main reason you asking these questions to know who you are. So that way, when
Yeah.
people try to judge you, when people talk to you, da da da, they try to tell you what you is. You know who you are because you're grounded in it. You get what I'm saying? You've been doing the time alone with yourself, or time to yourself, asking yourself these questions, figuring out who you are, figuring out a strategy, figuring out something that you want to do with your life. You get what I'm saying? So these questions open up your eyes, open up your mind to the things that you already had blocked. You get what I'm saying? So that's what I think. How about you, Brown? What you say to that question?
Yeah, I agree. I agree because like, asking these questions make you asking these questions to yourself makes you like, come out to yourself. And I think that's the most important thing, right? Because whenever we get out of character or whenever we lose ourselves, that's when things start to spiral, right? That's when things start to go the opposite way. But whenever you like ask these questions yourself, you get that memorization of who you are and you become a better person, like you said. And one thing I really think, I want to add on about asking these questions is you kind of like know where you at in life, right? Like a lot of the times you can ask
Facts.
yourself these questions and it won't be the same answer from 6 months ago. Why? Because you elevated, because you've grown. And whenever that happens, guess what? You see growth in yourself. And whenever anybody feels growth with anything, guess what? They feel better. So asking these questions can make you also feel better. It gives you that
True
thought of like,
facts.
I improved. I feel like a better person now. So asking questions like these, it just makes you. It returns you to you, right? It makes you feel back you again.
Yeah,
And like you said, you explained it beautifully. Honestly, I think the most important thing by asking this question is you find yourself. And with life, that's who you want to find, right? You want to find yourself always.
I agree, bro. That's facts, bro. At the end of the day, man, you gotta find who you is, bro. Because if you don't find who you is, you'll spend time trying to find out who somebody else is. You get what I'm saying? And mostly that's what happens, right? Like if we end up coming to a point where we stop worrying about ourselves, we start to worry about other people. We start to worry about why this person ain't talking to me. We start worrying about why this person out here doing that. We worrying about somebody on social media, why they do this, why they do that, why they, you know what I'm saying? We start to question other people's life when we stop working on our own. And that's where why we need these questions, why you should ask yourself these questions, because once you stop learning with yourself, you start learning about other people and learning about other things which you don't want to come to. You want to always continue to grow with yourself, learn with yourself. And like you said, continue to ask yourself these questions, even if it's 6 months, 3 months, you know what I'm saying? Ask yourself these questions over and over, because at the end of the day, like you say, you're gonna change, you're gonna grow. And if you are getting better, you are changing, then these questions will help you out and help you continue growing. But if you don't, like I said, if you don't ask questions, if you don't want to learn nothing about yourself, you're gonna spend time learning about somebody else, hating on somebody else, or like something about somebody else is gonna occur because you're not focusing on the one thing that matters, which is you. You know what I'm saying? You're worrying
Yeah,
about other things that are outside of yourself. But
yeah.
that's what I say, man. Um,
I agree. You explained it perfectly. Yeah, honestly.
yeah, I ain't got no more.
Yeah.
You got any more questions? No?
Nah,
Damn, bro,
that's
this
really
was
it.
quick,
Nah.
bro. Anyways, what's your what's your closing words for today, bro?
um, my closing words gonna be pressure. Whenever you feel pressure, stay strong, keep going, keep striving, keep running. God's not done. At the end of the day, hard times don't last forever. It's true. It's not cliche. Keep showing up and just remember your why. What
That's
about you,
facts,
bro?
bro. For me, man, words for the day. Bro, opportunities are endless, bro. Don't put limit to yourself. I'm gonna put limits. Gonna be my word of the day, bro. Don't limit yourself, man. Opportunities are
100%.
endless, bro. Growth is endless, bro. We only block ourselves from growth, bro, at the end of the day, man. So those are my words for the day, man. I love y'all boys, man. Y'all boys be safe, be blessed. We out there, man. Episode 46 will be back Thursday, episode 47 at 8 p.m. Eastern time. If you want to join up, man, show some love. Love y'all boys, man. Peace out.
Oh.